All right. Spin Rate Cast Pod Show, episode 5. Very excited to be here. Very excited about baseball. A lot of festivities over the last few days involving the All-Stars. All-Star sort of weekend, but it's not the weekend. We had I thought it was a really good home run derby, but then I listened to this is JML, by the way. Frank joining me as per usual. Uh, Chris Russo does not like the home run derby. Don't know why. He doesn't like the festivities, but I enjoyed it. Frank, your thoughts on the derby?
Yeah, I definitely did enjoy it. It's funny we were just everything we were just talking about the last couple episodes, or even the last episode about promoting the game. Um, Obviously, what Pujols was able to do was awesome. Everyone was rooting for him. I even got into it like, come on, man, come on. It was really cool, and you could see what it meant to the rest of the players.
Yep.
Obviously, J Rod has obviously arrived at the big stage as you pretty much called it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like his Josh Hamilton moment, but he's obviously a lot younger and just starting out. But yeah, what he was able to do, yeah, pretty much he pretty much made himself a player,
A known commodity
yeah,
overnight.
pretty much. Yeah, he's a star right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Juan Soto did win it, which was obviously great timing. Although we'll discuss it more later on. But yeah, I thought it was a fun derby. There was some cool stuff going on. We had like a tiebreaker situation, which is always cool. Even the final round, Jared he ran out of steam, but they made it interesting. It was pretty tight. Crowd was into it. Yeah, I thought it came off well.
Yeah. It's one of those where, like Josh Hamilton, I think looking back, if you said who won the home run derby that this particular year, people are gonna go, I think Julio. Oh no, Juan Soto won, right? Because Julio just put on a show. He hit 60 plus home runs in 2 rounds. Looked great. I love the respect for Pujols that the players showed him. How they huddled around him when they thought he was going to be eliminated, and all that whole ordeal. It was a really fun event, and we talk about at length the marketing of the game and how it needs to capture the younger audience. I'm glad that older people such as Chris Russo, who is in his 60s, did not enjoy the home run derby, because that's not the audience that baseball needs. The audience that baseball needs is the audience between, I would say, 13 years old and 40 years old. They need that audience. So anything beyond that, they really shouldn't care about, because those people are going to watch baseball no matter what. They're locked in. It's the audience below that age and skews younger that baseball needs to attract. And I thought they put on a good show. That's my thoughts on it. What I think they can improve in the future is, I do not like the fact that the All-Star festivities take place early weekdays. All the other sports have their events on the weekend when more people are home and they can stay up and watch these events. Like the NBA has their stuff on the Saturday, dunk contest and all of that. They need to play into the schedule to have these events on a Saturday, have like the home run derby. The Friday, they should have the futures game / celebrity softball game, whatever they want to do. And Sunday should be the All-Star game. It's very easy to make the switch in the schedule. They should do it.
Honestly, it would probably maybe even boost the numbers up for viewership if it's a Sunday night primetime All-Star game. I mean, everybody else does it like that outside of me. Even the NFL, I think, does the Pro Bowl kind of later in the day. But yeah, obviously, they should take like you just said, a page out of the book of like the NBA, even the NHL does weekend. I mean, like you said, Saturday night home run derby. Yeah, why not? And Sunday,
most people are home or they're out at a bar. They'll get more eyeballs on it if they did it on a weekend.
mean, you could even do it like mid-afternoon on a Saturday. You know, it doesn't even have to be whatever, too late prime time. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because I'll be honest. Last night watching the All-Star game, it did last past 11:30. I was falling asleep. I was tired because I got to go to work in the morning. And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, I thought the same thing. Why isn't this on a weekend?
Yeah, this commissioner is trying. And if he could partner with the Players Association and the owners to get the All-Star game moved, I think it would be great for both parties. Just to have it on the weekend. The other thing, as we just get into the game itself, a lot of people dropped out of the game. They got hurt prior to the game. The thing that stuck out to me was the second baseman for the American League. The starter was Andre Jimenez. That was, man, what a rise for that guy. That was pretty cool considering, he was part of the Lindor trade and the Guardians got an all-star player back. So, good on them. We saw 6 Yankees at the All-Star game. All 6 contributed somewhat. Judge, not so much. I don't think Judge took the the All-Star game that seriously. I think he was just getting up there to swing at anything, which is fine. It's an All-Star game. But it seemed like Stanton was locked in and he wanted to win and make a difference in front of the home crowd, and he did. So hats off to Stanton. I enjoyed the game. It would have been awesome if it had a tie and they had to go to extras and they did the home run derby rule that was enacted by the commissioner. Hopefully we get a tie in the next couple All-Star games, because I think that would be an awesome wrinkle that they added to the game.
Yeah. And honestly, we might get one. I thought we came pretty close last night, outside of one run, because these games lately have become very pitching dominant, not the high-scoring affairs sometimes you might see in All-Star games. I mean, baseball's been always a little different, but there was a time where there was some higher-scoring games. But, everybody looked pretty good. McClanahan didn't have the best of starts, but like you said, it's an all-star game. They're just going to go out there and throw what they're going to throw. Some players are going to swing freely. I did think a cool thing was with the mics this time they were talking to Stanton in the outfield, and obviously the part a lot of people were talking about was when Nestor came in the game and you could hear him talking to Trevino, his catcher, which was a pretty cool wrinkle there. That was something different, which is something they don't really do anymore. Pitch comm, they're never able to talk to each other. But I thought it was pretty cool. They had fun with it, but he looked good. Obviously, Colton pitched, but that's okay. Everybody else got in the game. I think they pretty much – was anybody left on the bench last night? I'm not sure, but, I mean, it was cool. And obviously, at the end of it, Clase came in, was blowing people away. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, if the Guardians can get something to that team, that division's not out of their they could easily – get back in that division race between Jose Ramirez, Bieber. They have enough pieces there that if they were to add another bat, I think, to that lineup, they could potentially win the Central. In Class A, man, that guy he's got great stuff.
Yeah, very impressive. I don't know how anyone hits him. I know there was a game earlier at the stadium where they were able to tie the game off. I'm still shocked that ICAF was able to square up on that 100-mile an hour beat. Jeez.
Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah, I guess so. That was our lucky day that day.
That was our lucky day.
We see not too much of that coming up. Like you said, that team does have some good young talent. They're not in that division is up for grabs, and obviously their biggest advantage, not along with their young players, as we mentioned before, is their manager. So, absolutely, I can see them competing more maybe next year.
And they have a good, surrounding staff. I think the talk of the baseball world was centered around one player. This one player has been a player that we've talked about every single episode since we started this show. Juan Soto. It started with the rejecting of the contract, which got leaked. And I don't understand the take of, man, he's a selfish guy for turning down all that money. You have to look at the contract for what it is. It was a 15-year contract offer for $440 million. To put the annual salary into perspective, it doesn't even make him one of the top 10 highest paid players in baseball. That contract, had he signed it, would have been bad for the players, and it would have been a bad precedent just to set overall. By the time he got into, or he would get into his third or fourth year of that contract, he probably wouldn't even be in the top 20 highest paid players in baseball. And we made a list a couple episodes ago of the top 20 players in baseball. I believe he was in both of our top fives.
Yeah.
If he's going into free agency at 25, which very few players do, he should get the highest salary in the game when he signs that contract. So Scherzer makes what, $43 million a year? In 2 years from now, when Soto is a free agent, I fully expect him to sign for at least a $50 million per year contract. It's not about the years, it's about the salary. Any person that goes out and works, I don't care what job it is, if a job offered you a lower amount of money to do the same amount of work and you actually produce more than the next person, you're going to go, no, I don't want that contract. Why am I going to sign that? And that's exactly what he did. He is not the bad guy in this situation. But the news gets leaked, and it got leaked intentionally, obviously by the team, to make themselves look better. Hey, we offered him all this money in all these years. That means absolutely nothing. So now, and then after he rejected it, apparently they didn't want to charter a flight for him to go to the All-Star game, so he had to take a commercial flight and all of that, and still won the home run derby. But now we have all these trade scenarios, right? MLB.com has 7 trades that they have up. Frank, what's your thoughts on this whole Soto situation? Break it down for us here.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you with everything you just said. Obviously, this was not a contract that he would be smart to sign. It was very, like you said, the annual value was way too low. I know there was some deferments involved. And as we've mentioned before, the Nationals are in flux right now. They're going to be sold. It's not just about him not wanting to play in Washington. There's a lot of factors at play here. And like you said, they did leak this strategically, and now they're trying to drive up interest in a possible trade. And obviously, if you trade him now, you're going to get the best value you're going to get for him. You're not going to wait a year. If you wait another year and a half before he's going to be free agent, you're not going to get the same packages. But, no. I mean, for a guy like him, his age, 23 years old, you don't see this kind of player in his young prime being available for a trade. This is a very complex trade.
The last player comp was in 2007, and this trade happened in the offseason, so it didn't happen in the season. It was the 2007 trade of Miguel Cabrera from the Marlins when he was 24 years old to the Tigers.
Yeah.
And at that time, that trade was Cabrera and Dontrelle Willis to the Tigers that netted the Marlins 6 prospects, including Cameron Maybin and Andrew Miller. So Juan Soto at 23, he's going to have to net you 6 or 7 quality players back. So here are some of the trade offers. We'll run them down. I'll run them down really quickly, and at the end, we'll kind of analyze where we think he might go based on those trades. Some of these trades I don't agree with. I think they're a little overboard in what the packages they came up with. The first one would be the Mets. So the Mets would get Soto. They would trade David Peterson, Francisco Alvarez, the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, Brett Batty, number 20 prospect in baseball, Ronnie Mauricio, number 52 prospect, and Alex Ramirez, number 87 prospect. So that would net them 5 prospects and a pitcher who's under salary control for the next probably 3 years. So that's the first one. The second would be to the Yankees. This is a very interesting one, and we'll talk about this after. Yankees get Soto. They would give up Glaber, Nestor, Cortez, Anthony Volpe, number 8 prospect in baseball, Jason Dominguez, number 39 prospect, and Ken Waldichuk, number 72. So our 3 representatives of the Yankees in the futures game, all to the Nationals. And one of our starting pitchers and a middle infielder that's under club control. So that's the second trade. Then we have the Dodgers getting Juan Soto, Patrick Corbin, and cash. The Nationals would get Dustin May, Bobby Miller, prospect, top 100 prospect, Andy Page's top 100 prospect, Miguel Vargas, top 100 prospect, and James Outman, top 100 prospect. You would have the Padres, CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Adrian Marjan, Robert Hassel, Joshua Mears. So all prospects basically, and 2 younger players in Abrams and Gore, who just got called up this year to the major league roster. You have the Giants, Logan Webb, Marco Luciano, Kyle Harrison, Luis Matos, and Helio Ramos. So 4 prospects and a starting pitcher. The Mariners, which we've talked about, they have an outside shot of trying to land a superstar player. George Kirby, Jared Kelenic, Noelvi Marte, Harry Ford, Emerson Hancock, and Juan Pinto. Then you have the Rays, Randy Arozarena, Josh Lau, Taj Bradley, Curtis Mead, Seth Johnson. So 3 guys on their roster, 3 prospects. That's the 7 teams that they have, 7 proposals. What do you think of these trade offers? I think, as Yankee fans, we'll just jump right into the Yankee proposal. I'm fine with just about everything except giving up Cortez, surprisingly enough, off of the roster that we have today, and giving up Volpe. I'm fine with giving up Glaber and whatever else is part of that trade. I think we can fill in, since we're so deep at shortstop in the minors, with someone else. A Cabrera, who's the other guy that's down there? Yeah.
Raza, yeah. They say he's very close to Major League Ready, so.
Yeah. Or we can throw in a Florial. We can throw in an Andujar. Like, we can give them a lot more where they can fill out their roster than most of the other teams. Again, these are, trade proposals that MLB.com had. The one that is actually really intriguing is the Mets. I just don't see it. The Nationals trading within their division and having to face this guy 18 or 19 times a year, it just seems like it's the least likely to happen.
I agree. Yeah, unless they were really blown away with an offer, I don't see them trading within their division, especially to the Mets.
Now, The Dodgers one makes sense for the Nationals because they would also be dumping the Patrick Corbin contract.
Yes, that's a big thing. I know they're looking to get it to move that contract. That could be a way for a team to get over the hump. And not just the Dodgers. I mean, any team that can actually take on that money, it could give them a leg up depending on the rest of their offer.
Now, would the Yankees push themselves into luxury tax hell to also take Patrick Corbin back in the trade and say, not give up Nestor? Like right now, to me, if you were to add Soto to this year's team, Soto is not a necessity. He's a luxury. The only time he becomes a necessity is if he was to get traded to a Tampa, to a Houston, to the Red Sox, even the Twins, someone that's going to make the playoffs of the American League. If the Yankees know, hey, Soto's going to go to the Dodgers or he's going to go to the Padres, I take my chances. I wouldn't be keen on topping their offer because it seems like they're going to want a treasure chest filled with prospects and one or two major league ready, if not already in the major league players under salary control.
Yeah, rightfully so, honestly.
Now, the Mariners getting him, I wouldn't rule that out. I wouldn't rule it out. I think if they were to add him, people said, well, at the end of, when he's a free agent, are the Mariners going to be able to afford to keep him? I said, well, that's 2 years down the road now. They don't have to worry about that for 2 years. And by the way, if in a year or two the Mariners are out of it and Soto is still Juan Soto, they can turn around and flip him and get prospects back anyways. They have one of the best minor league systems in baseball right now. They can afford to give up the players in this trade. I would say that's a very likely trade scenario that was laid out. The one to me that doesn't make any sense would be the Giants. I don't think the Giants are in it. The Giants have flirted with trying to get a superstar player there for a while, but they want to lock a guy up, I think. I don't think they want to give up players when they don't have an understanding with Soto or whoever else that they're going to stay there. And giving up someone like Logan Webb out of your rotation to get a Soto, I don't know if that's a good move either. I think if you're going to make a trade for Soto, you're going to have to give the farm, especially if you're a contending team. You're going to want to take away your farm team, but not take away from the team that you already have on the field in the majors. What do you think there, Frank?
Yeah, that's the tough point there about the major league ready, or even like you said, actually on the major league roster. Honestly, we discussed with the Yankees. I could see them giving up Gleyber. I'm not saying it's impossible, and it would make sense if that's what it takes to get a deal done. If that's the deal you have to make, like I said, it's not really a necessity, but if they feel like that's a need, they want to do the deal. Nestor doesn't really make a lot of sense as he's part of your rotation, and we're still looking for another starter as it is. So taking away a starter doesn't really make a lot of sense at the moment.
And even so, I'm even hesitant to put Gleyber in the trade, only because if you put Gleyber in the trade, then you're committed to IKF playing almost every day. So you're losing that hitting to gain another hitter. then Stanton's going to have to probably DH. We don't know what's going on with Gallo. It just seems like you're not gaining much on the team, if that makes sense, by trading for Soto right now, unless you're able to get him without giving up Glaber or Nestor off of your major league roster. If you could somehow acquire Juan Soto and not take away from the team that's had the best record in baseball so far, then you absolutely do it. I just don't give up Volpe. That's the only guy I don't give up. Because in a year from now, or year and a half from whenever they feel like he's ready, he's going to be ready, and that shortstop job is going to be his.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the plan. Why they made the IKF trade in the first place was the stopgap measure. Obviously, Peraza is more ready now, but obviously they think that Volpe is their guy. And they're obviously not going to keep both of them. Yeah, you could move one of them into another position, but I don't see that happening. The only reason I did say I could see the Glaber move is because they have DJ that can play second every day. But as you said, having IKF play every day may not be ideal. I'm still a little worried with him. I know I discussed him before. Some of the throws he makes, I'm a little concerned about a big game late in the year, October. You don't want to lose a game because a lot of times he makes just like simple throws become problems. Kind of a little bit of the Chuck Knobloch syndrome, maybe. But I know he's been a Gold Glover, but he was more at third base. It was his more natural position. I don't know. Yeah. I just get a little concerned about that. Right now, I'm fine with the team as it is. Obviously, with what's going on, but.
And I'm not sure if the Yankees, even though Donaldson has a contract for next year, I'm not sure based on performance if the Yankees are necessarily committed to Donaldson being on the roster next year. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great either. And I don't think he's a great fit for the clubhouse dynamic.
Maybe not. Yeah, I'd hope that maybe have a little different, guy with attitude might have helped wake him up. It's debatable. Only thing I can say about him is he does play solid defense at third. That's my plus for him. And yeah, I just like you said, you don't want to rock the boat too much. This team has got this far, so you want to accentuate areas of need and not just necessarily. Obviously, if you put Soto in this lineup, will it make the team better? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, will that help you against Houston in October? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and as you said before, keeping them away from American League rivals of ours would be another thing.
And I'm sure Soto would play center.
Sure, I'm sure he would too, if that's what they wanted to do. And I think it has nothing to do with the Judge situation either, because as we said before, that could be a backup plan if they did get him. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if they did pull off a trade that they wouldn't extend Judge and still have Soto, and then when his time is up, he might stay too. As you said, Donaldson, I could see them moving him next year. That they're going to want to get that money off the book. I think he's $24 million a year. I can see them moving him next year and getting some of that money cleared off. They'll have several decisions to make, and there's a lot of money coming off the book next year where you can afford. Where this scenario is affordable
within the next 2 years, because you have Rizzo's deal that expires at the end of next season,
right?
And you can always stick one of these guys at first base.
Sure.
Like, who's to say that Giancarlo Stanton can't play first base? But yeah, that's our thoughts on the Soto situation. Hopefully it works itself out and we see him on a new team. I think it's going to be good for the game. It's good for the player. It's going to be good for the Nationals too, because they'd be able to rebuild with the package that they're going to get back. Before we sign off, couple things. Go and obviously like this video. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe. Subscribing is free, no cost. Subscription nowadays, people think they're going to have to put their credit card. No, this is 100% free. But before we sign off, really quickly, I just want to go over a couple things. Who would be your pick midway through the year? AL MVP, rapid fire.
Right now, I'm going to be biased and say Judge, but I'm going to give you the reason why real quick, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And the reason why is when Judge hits, the Yankees win for the most part. When he slumps, what did that coincide with? One of the worst 10-day stretches they've had.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line, in my opinion. I know it's not always they don't give it to based on that, but that was the explanation I heard for Altuve when he went over Judge. That he was the biggest part of his team thing. Well, I'll make the argument that 100% he is the biggest reason why this team has 64 wins on July 20th.
I'm going to agree. Ohtani's probably second. The reason why I wouldn't give it to Ohtani is his team is terrible. It's really hard for me to give the MVP trophy to a guy whose team consistently is a bottom dweller in the league. And they have not only him, but they have arguably the best player of this generation also on the team. So that Ohtani's at second. Now, if Ohtani ends up winning 17 games and has 45 home runs, you might have to give him the award. But if Judge has 60 plus home runs, and the Yankees are like 110 win team, like it's going to be a very close vote at the end of the year if that happens. National League MVP, my pick is going to be Paul Goldschmidt. He's been lighting it up. He's hitting in the 330s, hitting with power, hitting with average. I think this is the year he'll win the award. Cementing, in my thoughts, his Hall of Fame career. That's his trajectory. It'd be nice to see him win it. Your pick, NL MVP.
I've had a couple of thoughts, but you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I think this is, like you said, he's as good as he's ever been, Goldschmidt, and like his numbers. I'm just taking a look at what's going on. I mean, I guess you can make arguments for a few people, but I think right now he's got to be your front runner.
Yep. Now, as far as the Rookie of the Year, American League, this one I think we're both going to be in agreement with. I'm going to say Julio Rodriguez. And he had a terrible April. He was batting 200. He had 0 home runs. I think he's up to 16 or 17 home runs now and a 270 plus batting average. Hopefully the home run derby doesn't slow him down. Hopefully it just keeps him more motivated. But he has a chance of being 30-30, obviously, this year. And like I said previously, I think he's going to be the next 40-40 player in baseball. What is your thoughts here, Frank?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to agree with you there. Hopefully, as you said, that this home run derby doesn't, but I don't think it will. I think he'll only do better in the second half. Right now, I would say running away with it. I mean,
yep.
I don't know. I'd like to see if anybody wants to, in the comments would like to make an argument for someone else, please. But yeah, I'd have to agree right now. J-Rod's got to be the AL Rookie of the Year in July.
Oh yeah. As far as the National League, it was kind of like no one wanted to win it until the month of June came, and then Spencer Strider has come out the gate with just some filthy stuff. And for you guys at home watching this, if you do not know who Spencer Strider is, go watch some of the highlights of the way this guy moves his ball. It's ridiculous. So far this year, it's 74 innings pitched. The guy has 114 strikeouts. That is dominant stuff. A whip of 1.049. His win-loss is only 4-3. But that was because he was coming out of the bullpen early in the year. Now he's starting. some games. This is my pick. An outside chance of O'Neal Cruz coming through and having a monster second half and potentially knocking Strider out. But if Strider continues on this path, he's clear cut the National League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Yeah, obviously Cruz would be a favorite, before the season if we were thinking about it, and he still might. But yeah, Strider, I have a friend of mine that's always posts about the Braves who also follows the Braves, so I was able to pay attention to some of his stats. So I've looked up a lot of his stuff. He's putting up video game numbers in a sense here. So yeah, right now, obviously, I would hands down.
Yeah, hands down.
And he's a big part of why the Braves have been going on a heck of a run lately.
Yep, he's fifth in the National League in strikeouts. That's all you need to know as a rookie.
As a rookie.
Again, thank you for joining us tonight or whenever. It's nighttime here. Whenever you listen or watch this show, thank you for doing so. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, share the channel, share the videos. It's free. We love doing this. We love talking about baseball. I think that shows. I think it's evident in our talking and what we say and what we do. JML, Frank, any closing sound bites for the audience?
Yeah, real quickly, I got to shout out the man, Matt Carpenter, AL Player of the Week.
Wow.
Ninja Cashman strikes again, but I mean, it's not like this guy was some scrub. This guy is a perennial star in St. Louis, but nobody has done what he's doing right now, and it's pretty cool to see. And he's really having fun with it. And he had a curtain call the other night at the stadium. I thought that was awesome. It's fun stuff. You love to see it. What a pickup. What a weapon off the bench or now starting several times a week. Jeez.
Yeah.
Player.
Yeah, it was a great pickup. Be interesting to see if he can keep up some of this pace. But he's definitely put on a show so far. And this show is going to be ending right now. As I sign off, I have one thing to say, and that's good night and good luck. Be well. Thank you so much. Have a good one.